Okay, I'm at my Ewing house today, and I have Richie here from Green Pest Solutions, who's here for a termite inspection on this house that I'm purchasing. Hi Richie, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Richie, Green Pest Solutions. Taking care of a general wood destroying insect report, checking to see if there's any termites, doing an inspection on the interior and exterior of the structure. To get started, I basically see a dirt mound under here that you're kind of looking for oddities, things that kind of stand out, and trying to see if it's mud or loose sand or termite or ant related. Can't always tell, but it's certainly interesting.
So how can you tell if it's, from a colony like this, it could be ants or termites?
Well, the termites are going to continue going up the slab and the foundation to get to the wood behind the siding. Ants are usually just going to kick out the dirt to just make way so that they can tunnel underneath the asphalt or under the concrete slab.
Okay.
I don't see any lines going up the wall, so right now it just looks like caked up dirt that's just been sitting here for some time. Just a different type of population altogether. Not something I would put on a wood destroying insect report.
Okay, okay.
As far as the outside goes, the first thing I usually notice is whether the front slab or driveway has been drilled out, where you see little drill marks as a previous termite treatment would have been done.
Okay.
Not seeing that, I would say that so far the house doesn't look like it's been treated in the past.
Okay.
All right, so we can take a look inside.
All right. So do you want to walk around, or you want me to show you where some of the where it was reported that they saw some damages?
I'm gonna walk around, see what I can find, and if there's something specific afterwards, we can definitely take a look at it.
Sure.
Just covering up because I don't like to get anything on the rug.
Oh, trust me. This needs a lot of cleanup. It's not that bad, but don't get worried about that.
So the house is a full slab structure?
Yes.
Much more difficult to find termites on a full slab structure. Mainly, underneath you can see the sill that the house is built on, the foundation and the hollow block, whereas here it's just all walls. Okay. So if they find the structure, they find a gap one way or the other, generally moisture related. Okay. They'll build up, or I should say, they bring in mud and create a tunnel that they can sustain themselves as they're continuing to pick the wood.
Okay.
Most people don't realize that termites don't live in the home. They actually create a avenue or somewhat a highway that they're able to just go back and forth, grabbing some cellulose in the wood and taking it home outside. Picking up groceries, so to speak.
Okay.
So when they do that and on a slab, one of the main things we can see is as they're coming into a wall or in a sheetrock, they actually eat the paper on the sheetrock, because that's of course cellulose and of wood. So they'll get between the paint and the sheetrock itself and just take away the little bit of paper that they do find.
Okay.
So that's basically what I'm looking at in this front wall here.
All right.
And I don't see any evidence of that either. So far, so good. Actually, in some of the houses that have been vacant for some time, a lot of times it's good to check the spider webs, because sometimes these bugs get caught in a web, and it gives us something to look at.
Yeah, this house has been vacant, I would say, about 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
4 to 5 months. Yeah.
Don't judge me if something jumps out and I scream.
I'll scream first. Actually, I'm not too bad with bugs, believe it or not.
A lot of people a lot of people itch just seeing me walk into a room, knowing that I deal with other types of bugs.
The only thing that really scares me are mice, rats, and big spiders, really big ones.
Yeah. Typical and understandable as far as fear. So I'm just feeling it for softness.
Yep.
Any type of termite damage would tend to crack or have some type of bounciness to it that sometimes you can even put your finger right through it. So
how do you know that sometimes if it's termite versus water damage? I mean, if you don't have watermarks, that
right.
is.
First of all, yeah, the watermarks are going to tell you. Again, termites are drawn in mainly by water, by moisture. So it could be one and then the other.
Okay.
But likely when termites are in you open a piece of wood or you have an open section of a piece of wood, if it's water, it's generally going to break apart by drying and wetting repeatedly, so it's going to be wet rot and dry rot and just crackling. When termites move in, again, because they can't sustain themselves in the air like ants can, they need that mud, so they'll pack in that same area with a bunch of mud, and with the mud that's there, that tells me that that's going to be termites because they're one of the only insects that are going to do that.
Okay.
So it could be an open cavity, but if there's no mud inside of it, you're going to assume that it's more termite related, moisture related.
That's the area, the wood pieces, where they identified as termite damage.
And there is some moisture in here as well, as far as these lines going up and down. So there is mud throughout this area, generally indicating that, again, when the mud's brought in, that's going to be something typical of termites.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole bottom here is hollowed out, and there is definitely mud inside there. So this is definitely taken up by termites at some point.
Okay.
I don't see live activity, but it certainly looks like there was at some point moisture and then termites.
Okay. Take that.
And again, on this side, this also breaks right open just with a slight push of the screwdriver.
Okay.
And there's mud inside there as well.
Okay.
So they've come up from the bottom of the slab and found the wood basically likely because of the moisture.
Okay.
And again, on a slab, there's not a lot to go by. So when you find things like this, it's pretty it's a telltale.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Let's go into the next room here. So on a flat wall, you normally won't see anything until you put a light on it on the side where you start to see the rippling, or you start to see even the old spackle lines from the previous person who did any work. So flashlight's generally going to reveal a lot of different inconsistencies.
Sure.
Now with an insect report, I can only say that there could be something here, and a lot of times it's up to the buyer to require, or the seller to open up the wall to show any existing damage that termites cause that might need to be repaired. That's generally something that's discussed between the two. I can only say that it's possible that it's there, and they go from there.
Okay.
cobweb here. We got a flying insect here that I want to see is whether it's an ant or a termite, which would be determined based on the wing pattern, the antenna, and the body segments.
Oh, okay, that's what you were saying about
Spider webs.
right.
Trying to keep it intact. So in this case, this is an ant. Ants have elbowed antenna instead of termites that go straight out.
Okay.
Wing pattern is definitely different as well. Termite wings generally overlap, and their bodies are a slender body rather than segmented, where you can see the different body parts of the ant. So this is certainly an ant here, not a termite.
Now the termites, aren't they typically very light color and
so
hollow looking?
yes, they're mostly white. They basically look like white ants. Most people will say. Again, there's no segmented body part like the ants have. So there's definitely distinct differences. Okay. And they're the workers that we're going to see most of the time. Whereas the ones with the wings are called swarmers, and both ants and termites both have swarming parts of the colony at times. Right. And when it swarms, they look similar. They're black, they have wings, they have antenna, and everybody thinks they're all termites, but they could be either. Again, those are the differences between the body, the wings, and the antenna. You can see it with the plain eye, just a matter of knowing what you're looking for.
Wow, okay. Great.
So it's usually around the springtime that you'll find swarmers, whether it's ants or termites. Difference is just knowing what to look for.
Okay, all right.
Never know what goodies you're gonna find. Feel free.
Go for it.
There are mouse droppings found throughout the house.
Okay.
And this is just, more ants.
Okay.
Most inspections, especially for termites specifically, are going to be found, along the outside walls, so the window walls rather than the interior walls.
Okay.
On a slab, you will have areas like underneath the steps that they'll go underneath and find a hole one way or the other. But with general houses such as crawl space houses that have crawl spaces and basements, usually it's going to be the exterior walls that you're going to focus an inspection on.
Oh, now I have to worry about mice. That's what I was afraid of.
No, honestly, where can you go that doesn't have mice at some point? It's just one of those inevitabilities.
Well, a lot of times it's more like in the basement and the garage.
Yeah. But with a vacant house over the winter, they may just find a way. They only need about a dime-sized hole to really get in.
Oh, that's very true.
Also not on this report.
Exactly.
Just a water stain on the bottom here, so maybe want to look a little further. Sorry. There's just a water stain on the bottom here.
Okay.
So I just wanted to look a little further, make sure there was no other issue.
Sure.
Okay. Bathrooms are always the most difficult. Mm-hmm. They're already moisture related. You have piping, you have sweating of the pipes. It's an attractive area. Yet when it's all tiled all the way up on the outside wall, there's really no way. There's no indicator to know whether there's something going on under the tub.
Okay. Now, are some of these insects, I mean termites specifically, are they more dormant during like the winter? Meaning,
No.
if you detect them, you can detect them any season.
Yeah, generally they're going to keep working 365. You know, ants will go dormant, and a lot of insects will, but they find a way in, so they're going to create that mud tunnel to somewhat be insulated, retain the moisture, and just keep going. So they're always actively coming in and leaving. Again, it's a superhighway, so their colony is somewhere deep under the ground and could be hundreds of feet away, but they're coming in back and forth constantly, so all year long. There's just water staining back here, and I can't get back there to see if there's any further tubing. Pretty difficult area to see.
Okay.
So an area like this that's inaccessible,
Right.
there's not a lot you're going to be able to see,
Okay.
and there's not a lot you're going to be able to say about it.
Right.
Wood's strong though. The wood is strong, so you technically usually don't say that much is an issue
Okay.
in the parts you can see anyway.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
A lot of times they leave behind indication of what they used to treat for. So these are little ant states, ant bait stations.
Right.
Ants being on a property is, again, typical. General pest control generally deals with all these things.
Right. And there's a bar.
I'll let it be outside afterwards if you want to check the door.
Sure.
So what happens with molding, being that it's slightly detached, sometimes you'll have that indication of mud in between the sheetrock and the molding itself.
Okay.
Another way to find termites when you're doing an inspection on a slab house that you don't have anything else to go by.
Okay.
Just some waviness of the
I see
the
that on the
paper.
paper.
So termites eating behind it, a lot of times the paper itself will cave in on the sheetrock, because I should say the paint, especially latex paint, will cave in, and they'll basically show their own lines, the track marks that they were using to go
I've
back
seen
and forth.
some of them on videos. It's very disturbing.
Certainly.
It's
Almost as bad as your arm going through the wall as you lean on it.
oh my gosh.
So again, we have bugs here on the web, and they're also flying ants rather than swarming termites,
Okay.
which is a good indication. Pretty typical for a slab house to get an ant population because they're right underneath the
Okay.
slab. any extra water is going to draw them in, just like termites.
Right.
An ant colony is usually, pretty large, but a fraction of the size of a termite colony. But they do eat termites, so they.
So ants eat termites.
They do have a good food source when termites are around.
Okay.
Never enough to knock them all out, but definitely have a good time.
So do termites eat ants, or
They
is it
do not.
the other way around? Oh wow.
So you have the rippling paper up there also,
Right.
but it looks like water rather than what I would normally see
Right,
typical
right.
termite.
At least these water damage, I don't think, it's been raining a lot. It doesn't seem like it's fresh,
Yeah.
but either way, I'm gonna check my roof. That's one of the things.
So again, I'm just looking at the outside walls, just anything abnormal,
Right.
out of the ordinary. But nothing that stands out specific. Now this is a larger ant here, which is generally a carpenter ant, or only the larger ants. Most ants are typically that tiny little ant.
Yeah.
But when they're that
Bigger
larger
ones,
size, generally means that there's carpenter ants along the property. Doesn't mean they're living in the property.
Yep.
Just means they came in for moisture or food, just like an ant colony could.
Yeah, I have plenty of that in my current house right now.
Is that right?
It's,
Yeah. Interior, other than underneath the stairs, looks. I don't see any other indication of termites.
so you don't
anywhere
even have
else.
to check upstairs.
I'm gonna check upstairs
Oh, okay.
just to
I
make
didn't
sure.
know that if
What happens is they start below because they're from the foundation. In a very infested house, they'll get upstairs.
Okay.
Doesn't happen often. I haven't seen it all
Sure.
that much myself,
Yeah.
but certainly it's possible that they can get upstairs.
Okay. All right. How many inspections do you do a day?
Today I have 3 home inspections.
Okay.
Days are definitely different. Sometimes you do 1, sometimes you can do up to 5. I go around, I inspect houses in general, not just for termites, but I do a lot of other pest control as well.
Okay.
We take care of most all types of pests. We're just not wildlife, but almost everything else we'll be able to handle. So throughout the day, they send me where the calls come in.
Okay. You guys serve all over New Jersey or mainly central in this county?
Almost all of eastern PA and most of New Jersey altogether. I mean, we have 4 different offices right now.
All right.
No attic access.
Right.
Any of these capes, these dormers. You can't see if anything's going on in the rafters. Just gonna peek in here.
Yep.
If you want to come around and see.
Okay. That's still.
I'll do that after. You said it's vacant, right? Nobody's staying here that you don't know of?
No, they just didn't take all their stuff. So these are trash. Yes. Oh, some of the houses that we've seen is literally, one of the houses we had to deal with, they literally left everything behind. It was an estate sale.
Yeah.
So literally took us between friends and family and professionally, I would say about 4 truckload full
Wow.
of dumpster to get rid of it. And some of the, you know, it helped out some of the charities in the area, but it was, so, you know, this is nothing.
No, definitely not.
Let's see.
So if there's access with a floor, we tend to get in, check and see if there's anything. There's nothing accessible at all. But usually in here, you're going to find evidence of wood borer beetles, powder post beetles, and the like. And unfortunately, there's just no access in here to be able to find that.
Okay.
So there's no way I can do. It's just not accessible. You just won't be included.
All right.
All right, that's the inside.
Okay.
With just that evidence that we see down below the stairs in that closet alone, usually we're going to recommend a full termite treatment around the house.
Okay.
Be done.
So is that a one-time treatment, or is it ongoing more for live when it's live termites?
Well,
or?
technically, there's two types of treatments. Ultimately, there's more, but in Jersey, we deal with subterranean termites. With subterranean termite, as long as we're treating the perimeter, generally that's going to take care of whatever knows the house, so we're going to get you off the map, so to speak.
Right.
We don't use materials anymore that are repellent. So instead of putting material down and they know your house has treatment, they go to the neighbors. Nowadays they come through the material as they're traveling back and forth, get it on their body and transfer it back to wherever that colony may be, however far it may be. So with a liquid treatment, that's what's done all the way around the house. That's a one-time treatment, and that is something that you just kind of inspect and follow up with once a year to make sure everything is still well. Whereas with the other, it's a baiting system that we put out bait cartridges around the house. We check it 4 times a year as green pest control. That's our policy. We open them up. We rebait them as necessary. If they're soiled or moved in by ants, that's going to be something that's going to deter termites. We want to make sure that it's going to be as appetizing as possible for termites to find it. Take the food from the bait station.
Appetizing.
Exactly. and ultimately, we want them to transfer the bait now to their colony and feed everybody and collapse the colony wherever it is.
All right.
So that's a 4-time inspection, whereas the liquid treatment is a 1-time service a year.
All right.
All right. Just gonna work our way that way and see what we're doing. Again, not seeing any old drill marks. The house, as far as I can tell, has never been treated. When it's a liquid treatment, you have to get under the slab to inject the rod into the soil below the line, below the grade. So you drill your holes, inject it. I see none of that happening here. Otherwise, with soil grounds, you can literally just put it right into the ground. So you can't really tell other than through the slab itself.
So with the liquid treatment, do you have to drill?
Only when there's slab involved. Around the soil, you can pull the soil back a little bit these days. You don't have to trench that big hole that we used to trench. Nowadays, it's just putting a little line so you can get the material into the ground. While I'm outside, when I do a wood destroying insect report, I'm looking for carpenter bees going along the top ridge. And in this case, they have a channel, a J channel that covers up the end of the fascia board, so bees couldn't get behind there if they wanted to. So this house is pretty protected. Just digging in the mulch. They'll move into the mulch. They'll be all around the area looking for, different ways, different cellulose that they can find. One thing you almost never want is a mulch bed to go as high as the foundation itself, because you'll never be able to know what's going back and forth. The moisture that's built up in the mulch will wick into the wood as well, starting to break it down. So looking for a little bit of that as well.
It's good to know, because sometimes we do our own landscaping. Where, like you said, the mulch literally just pile sometimes. Too high.
a little bit of a spot inspection. You can't check the whole foundation, but certainly not seeing anything there.
All right.
And again, no drilling in the back slab of the foundation or on the concrete, so they definitely have never had a treatment here, a liquid treatment anyway. There's no sign of bait stations either, so. Nothing there. Notice those plastic black runners in the house. Those are downspout. Basically, they'll run the water away from the foundation a lot further. So,
Yeah.
much better idea than doing these here.
So initially, I bought that, and then I had those. So I put that. I'm going to replace that with that.
Gotcha. Yeah, very good idea.
It was just that. Then I'm like, my whole yard will be just filled with those pipes.
Exactly. Now, you see the wiring going all around here. There's gas lines, electric lines all underground.
Okay.
When we do a termite treatment, New Jersey requires generally a 5-day grace period, where when we have to call the state in order to do any treatment.
Okay.
They come out, they mark out exactly where the gas lines are.
Okay.
They make sure that we're not hitting anything that shouldn't be hit.
Okay.
So usually when we have an agreement, at that point it's usually a 5-day period
Okay.
where before we can do our first treatment.
Okay.
Only here in Jersey. In Pennsylvania,
Oh,
you can treat that
interesting.
same day.
Okay. All right.
Just have to be careful. A lot of our equipment
Good to
these
know.
days, the drills actually shut off if they hit any type of metal. So it's kind of a protection sensor. So, but still, Jersey requires the
right.
dig law.
Okay.
Usually here also we would drill this just to make sure that this is all treated underneath in the soil as well with the liquid treatment.
Okay.
In this case, there's none of that, none of those indicators either. So
Okay.
I would just basically say that this house is probably a better candidate for liquid treatment.
Okay.
And you get it in the ground the one time, check
Okay.
it every year to make sure everything's
Okay.
well, and everything else is good to go.
Okay.
All right, that's
Pretty much the extent of it. Wow,
that's
that
the
was
extent of a termite inspection.
a lot longer and a lot thorough than I anticipated. Really
Hopefully that's a good
appreciate
thing.
it. No, it is. No, it is a good thing. It's a lot faster than a typical home inspection.
yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
if you guys ever need any service for termite treatment or inspection, I'm trying to get their information over here. They are Green Pest Solutions in Pennington or throughout New Jersey, and I will post their information on the title and caption. And here's their information: 1-800-BUGS-123. Thank you.